Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we will be reviewing that remake, the King Kong, that was made in 2005.
Yeah, this is the second remake. I think there's an earlier one with, was it Jeff Bridges in it?
Yeah. We watched that just last week, along with the two other ones that have inspired. Well, the other one was the 1933 version that brought to the life the King Kong, the image.
The nice little monkey.
And this one was done by Peter Jackson, who did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good, old Peter. Yeah.
Yes, smart man. Very smart man.
Talented. And
originally, he was going to be doing a Creature from Black Lagoon, but he decided to do something else instead.
He wasn't originally. He was offered the job.
He was offered the job by the producers, but he wanted to do no. This is sort of another. This sort of puts me in mind of John Carpenter, who wanted to do Creature from the Black Lagoon, but the studios asked him to do Village of the Damned.
Yeah, which I would take the other one.
I would have loved to wonder what would have been like if John Carpenter did do the Creature from Black Lagoon, but I guess I'm kind of glad we'll never know.
Never know. Exactly right.
Anyway, moving on. So I did wonder. I was trying to work out which King Kong to do, and this one has a good character development for me.
Well, I like this one also because of the gorilla.
Yeah.
It's computer generated using motion capture, is it that the word? Where they put these little electrical devices all over your body, and they program your movement in the computer.
True.
And then they use that, and
they build a digital image over yourself.
Yeah, and it works really good. I mean, and how do you put it? It doesn't come over like a man in a gorilla suit.
Yeah, unlike in the past, in both the 1930s one and the 70s one, they always made out the gorilla walking on two legs, when actually in reality gorillas they crouch low.
Well, they do crouch low. They can walk on two legs but hunched over, and they often run and walk on four armed legs. Whatever.
Yeah, if you look at it that way.
4 armed legs.
And
dear old 2 armed legs.
Yeah, and the guy who did pretend to be King Kong, Andy
Circus.
He actually learned about how to watch the actual gorillas.
I think he went to Rwanda. Oh, I can't say Rwanda, or a place like that, and he actually observed gorillas in their natural habitats and whatever as well. So. And Jack Black, who played the main lead role, he studied up on Orson Welles and people like that to get an idea of that sort of character. Yeah. So, they all did something a bit different to bring something to the roles. Yeah,
so let's talk about who produced, directed, and starred in this.
Well, this is my favourite bit. Okay, produced by Peter Jackson.
No doubt you already heard me mention
Peter, he did Lord of the Rings and some other good groovy things. Peter Jackson, Jan Blenken, Carolyn Cunningham and Fran Walsh.
Who were they? Who were their roles? Sorry.
They produced, I just said.
You didn't say that.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I said produced by. Directed by Peter Jackson. Screenplay by Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens.
So he has a hand in it, all three roles.
It says it's based on King Kong by Marianne Cooper and Edgar Wallace. I think they wrote the original screenplay.
Most likely.
Because this one is not an exact copy of the original 1933 movie, but they copied the theme and the style,
feeling and the theme,
whatever, and they wrote a more contemporary script to it.
And according to reviewers, except for one negative one, all of the other reviewers were very positive about this movie, weren't they, Mike?
Well, as far as I can see, yes.
Yeah.
Only one person. And he just... I think of the fact that it was a very long movie. It was about a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, it was.
And maybe this guy had the attention span of a split pea and an hour and a half is best.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, folks.
Anyway, I'm going to go through a couple of things here quickly before Sarah starts doing the tell. Now, Obviously, this is a second remake, like we said before. It is set in 1933, as the other one, the original one was. Skull Island, yes, all the good groovy things. Yeah, going to New York, blah blah blah, all those other good groovy things. Now, filming of King Kong took place in New Zealand from September 2004 to March 2005. So that's about, say, 5 or 6 months, which isn't too bad when you're putting a big one together. Okay. The budget and whatever. The budget was hoping to be $150 million. Not a chance. It came in about $207 million to make this epic film. Now, everyone's a little bit concerned. However, it box officed at $562 million, and it's made a mozza since going on syndication and DVDs and everything else, and so they made a lot more money there as well. So they didn't lose, folks.
Hooray!
Yay! Anyway, I won't go into reviewers at the moment, but it was well received by the reviewers. I'll talk about that later.
Just talk about the stars.
I'm going to roll into that now, Chubbles.
All the original stars are named, their characters' names are similar to the ones in the original 1930s movie, obviously.
They were the same.
Except for the 1970s one. In that one, they named the lead a different name actor.
Yes, but they copied this off the 1933 original movie.
I know.
Now, here we go. Now, it's quite funny. When I was going for list of credits here in the computer, the first one that comes up is the guy who did the gorilla.
What do you expect?
Now, that's really, you would think that he didn't even have a speaking part. Yeah, that's all he got. No, sorry. No, Andy Circus, you did a good job. But, so interesting that. Without him, he wouldn't have had a movie. Right. So, I'm going to start off with Andy. Andy Circus.
As King Kong.
Wait a minute. He plays King Kong using motion capture, like we said. He also plays Lumpy, the ship's cook.
That guy.
Yeah, so he plays the cook as well as the gorilla.
So he plays two roles in this.
Yeah, I only get paid twice. Okay.
No, not.
Now, Jack Black, he plays the role of Carl Denham, who was, in the original movie, he was a film producer who was must have been 80 HD or something or other.
Well, actually, he's a director and a cameraman, whatever.
He was everything.
Yeah,
producer, director, cameraman, caterer.
Maybe not caterer.
Now, Naomi Watts plays our leading lady, Anne Darrow, a struggling vaudeville actress who is desperate for work, and she gets sucked into a sea cruise.
Yeah, and I think I should mention, Mike brought up just a while ago that Faye Ray, the original lady who played Anne back in the 1930s one,
was still alive.
She was still alive at this time, and she was going to be making a cameo in this movie.
Right at the end of the movie where the aeroplanes didn't kill the creature. Beauty killed the beast, or something like that.
But then she
died before they had a chance to do the filming.
Her.
So this is for you, Faye.
And to her family too.
And a family, yeah.
I just didn't know that she was still alive. I always thought...
Well, she was 96. By that time, you think you're either pushing up the flowers.
Not being disrespectful or anything.
Not being disrespectful. I mean, I'd be at 90 bloody 6. I'm only 67 at the moment.
Yeah, so who's
it's
next?
Another few years.
So who's next?
I won't go for everybody, but Adrian Brody plays Jack Driscoll. And Darrow's love interest, apart from the gorilla.
Yeah. In this movie, in the old movie, he was a bit of a second mate to the skipper on the boat. But in this one, he's the screenplay writer.
Yeah, and she admires him
for his writing abilities.
Yes, and he cares about her. And in the end, he gets a soft spot for King Kong, as does Anne Darrow. So, they both are on the same page here. So when they go back to New York later on, they don't want anything to do with the exploitation of the gorilla.
Yeah, so they went their separate ways in. But I'll go into that later on.
We'll cover that later on. Yeah, what else? I can't think of anything else.
Well, here's one I've written down, Mike.
Throw something in, before we start
Kyle, what's his name?
I don't know, it's your handwriting. You look like a doctor. Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, he plays Bruce Baxter, an actor who is a total asshole. Well, no, not the actual actor, but you know what I mean.
He plays the role of an actor who's dragged into it, and he appears in action-type movies as a real fearless hunter. He's actually a cowardly pussy. You know?
Puts me in mind of not really a cowardly pussy actor, but it puts me in mind of some other action-adventure actors back in the 1930s and all that stuff. You know, Mike may remember Jungle Jim and all the other guys.
Wait a minute. Jungle Jim, wait a minute. He was one of my heroes when I was a kid. For some of you younger folk, Jungle Jim was something like, I'll say a bit like a park ranger, peacekeeper, something or other, in a jungle area, similar, probably South Africa, I don't know where else. And it was a spin-off from the Tarzan movies that Johnny Weissmuller was in. So Johnny Weissmuller played in the main Tarzan movies. Other guys did as well. And then after he retired from doing Tarzan a few years later, he got this role as Jungle Jim.
Yeah.
Where he spoke better.
Yeah, this Bruce guy, he's a total coward.
Yeah.
But he then tries to redeem himself halfway through, but again, wait to the end, he's still a coward.
I don't know. He helps save everybody, but he takes the glory for everything instead of, I did it all myself. Yeah.
Tell that to the hand. No one's listening.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'll talk to you guys about the story now.
Now, one or two things just before we go into it now. We did mention Fay Ray. He's passed away in 96, and Naomi Watts met with Fay Ray.
Yeah, I think I remember reading about that.
And I don't know why, because he wouldn't be copying her acting style, but he would have seen the original movies
but
and
she
whatever.
Probably would like a little advice on how she felt about being in the role.
Screen queen, whatever.
Well, she's not a screen queen, actually. I mean, screen queen is...
slasher horror, I know.
Slasher horror. And technically, this doesn't fall under that sort of thing.
She did scream a lot. She did scream.
Okay, she's a scream queen, but I often think scream queens fall under the slasher genre a lot more.
Now, Jack Black, he studied P.T. Barnum, the circus guy, and Orson Welles to get their personality, because both those guys are very outward-going showman type people. Orson Welles very very out there guy.
Interesting thing. Robert De Niro, was it Robert De Niro?
Robert De Niro was considered for the role, and somebody else I can't remember.
I like to think he would have did a good job too, but I think I like Jack Black because he's more funnier.
Jack Black. It didn't say Jack Black was forced to wear a wig during that movie because he had a bad haircut.
Because Peter Jackson didn't like his haircut, so he just enforced him to wear a wig.
Well, he wouldn't like my haircut.
But then again, this happens a lot in some movies. They either get their hairstylist to comb your hair a certain way or cut it in a certain style or fashion to suit the period you're looking at.
Well, exactly.
Or just get you to wear a prosthetic wig or something.
Prosthetic is like an arm or a leg.
Okay, not prosthetic. I mean, just
a wig. Just say a wig.
Just a wig. Just
a
to
hairpiece, if you will.
A hairpiece to work for the role.
I need a hair extension and have to super glue
should
my
I
head.
start talking about the story itself now?
I would.
So the story.
I'll just keep going.
So the story takes place in 1933, the same year when King Kong the original came out. So at this time, it's like there's a mixture of bad luck going around, like
the Depression,
the Great Depression, if you will.
A lot of people were broke, and jobs are hard to come by, and what jobs were pretty poorly paid, and let's just say a lot of people were out of work, and some of them had to either look to homeless shelters for food and stuff like that. Soup kitchens.
Soup kitchens, you name it. Anyway, so meanwhile, Anne Darrow, who's working in a sort of small-time theatre, one of those ones that Buster Keaton probably would have been in if he was around.
That sort of thing. Yeah,
or Charlie Chaplin, if you will.
A music hall sort of. What I don't know what to call.
Yeah,
them.
one of those ones.
Let's just say a theatre.
Yeah, so one of those old performing art theatres, and of course they probably don't pay really well.
No, it's a glamour. Will be.
Yeah, and by probably later on, the theatre is closed down, probably because they've not been paid for weeks.
Oh yeah,
and
they're broke.
Yeah. So anyway, Anne says goodbye to this
old actor guy she's hanging out with. Yeah.
And so she tries to land herself a new acting job, but the guy suggests maybe you should go to a burlesque house that will provide you some gigs.
Yeah, a bit of short-term work, yeah. Until something comes up.
Meanwhile, while this is happening, let me see, Carl Denham is having a hard time himself, trying to get his producers to swing his way to allow him to film in Singapore. He claims he's filming in Singapore.
And they said, they changed their mind, they're going to close the production down.
Yeah, they said they had all the stock footage. They said that Carl Denham only does a lot of stock footage pictures.
Yeah, monkeys, lions and tigers, giraffes.
Nothing. Yeah, one of the producers says that they would love to see tits, bums, and whatever.
Yeah, one of the guys.
Even though back in the 1930s, they would not show a picture like that.
Oh, they would, but they'd have clothes on.
Yeah.
You see, if you like girls'
bit of fit.
They had musicals back in those days. The old Buzzardsby Berkeley musicals and different things, and
it
was all legs and figures and girls in really small uniforms.
Yeah. So anyway, Carl decides to quickly gather all the film canisters he can lay his hands on, grabs his assistant, and they try to make a dash to get themselves organized. And while his assistant's organizing the boat and everything, he tries to find his leading lady.
Yeah, I think he didn't have one lined up to decide.
Yeah, but she said, go to hell, I'm not going.
Yeah, bugger.
Because the assistant told the truth where they're going.
Well, it's a sea cruise. It's a free cruise. Yeah.
Not technically. I think his assistant probably told her, we're going to Skull Island, not Singapore.
Out in the middle of nowhere, and you might die. That'd put a damper on it. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So, dear old Carl goes down to the burlesque place, and there he notices, when he's standing there, sees Anne for the first time, and he thought, she looks the right part for this lead.
Well, I think Naomi looks pretty hot anytime.
She looks poor, sad, quite the character we're looking for this role.
Pretty, nice body.
Yeah.
Well, I think I look for that as well.
He then follows her and sees that she's about to steal an apple off an apple cart.
She's very hungry, yeah.
Because she's, after all, I did mention that it's a poor time, not much cash to go around, so she's doesn't have very much. She can't pay for anything.
She's broke.
Yeah, but luckily she nearly gets caught by the owner. But luckily enough, Carl steps in and says, "You dropped this, madam." The
coin to pay for the apple.
Yeah, and he then sits her down, gives her a free meal, a free meal.
Sort of free, isn't it?
Yeah, and he talks about he starts off being shifty, saying, What clothing size are you? And this kind of hello. What a sicko are we looking at? But he then explains that he's on the level. No funny business. He's a director of a film, and he wants a leading lady to star in his next picture.
Immediately,
technically, that very evening.
If not sooner.
Yes. And he tells her about how it's going to be written by... what's his name?
Buggerlugs.
Let me see. Jack Driscoll. She knows Jack Driscoll.
Oh, and she admires his writing.
Yeah, she likes his plays and stuff like that. And she says that she's not a romantic lead type of actress because she's more of a comedy actress.
Yeah, just dancing and juggling on stage and that sort of stuff.
Stuff
and
like
a
that.
Slapstick and
like as I said, like Buster Keaton stuff or Charlie Chaplin stuff too.
Well, but Charlie Chaplin's more in the movies, but the old stage guys back in that period,
Yeah. So he then begs that she takes part in this role, and he explains to her what the story is about. He says it's about a daring explorer and a beautiful lady
and a monkey.
Yeah, well, not monkey, but he goes on to say that she experiences something that she won't ever expect being back on land. She falls in love, but she doesn't trust it. And he asks, she says these words because she says that nothing good lasts forever. So anyway, she's, I think, definitely going to take on the role. So she ends up packing a small suitcase and heads down to the docks with him. And of course, at first she sees this very beautiful big boat, and he says,
"Oh, this is a boat? No, there's a crappy one next to it."
It's the crappy one next to it.
That's quite funny. That
I love it. Yeah. Anyway, she gets on board and all that stuff, and then we meet Jack, who says he has to leave to attend a rehearsal, I think.
Well, yeah, he's dropping off some pages of a script for the movie.
Yeah, and
Jack wants him to finish it off. He says, no,
we want you to stick here. And of course, his producer guys are going to shut him down by coming down to the docks and tell him...
And he wants to stop the boat from taking off and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been closed down now.
Yeah, but luckily enough, he was able to coax Jack to stay by stalling him.
He kept arguing with him in his cabin and saying, "Oh, look, I'll write you a check." And, "Oh, I made a mistake, man." And by the time he turned around to leave the boat was pulling away from the dock.
Yeah, and then Jack ends up sleeping with the animals or in the bow of the ship.
No, this was an animal getting shipped. They'd probably used for other films, bring back alive sort of animals. And there's some sort of monkey cage, something he was sleeping in or set up in. And I think I read somewhere that monkey cage or something, the sign behind it was actually referring to his previous movie. Because he went to Skull Isle or something rather than a previous movie for Brainbuster or some other movie, and there's some other monkey sort of thing in there, and yada.
Anyway, moving on.
Product placement.
So anyway, things are on full swing, and of course, the captain doesn't agree that they should go all the way out to middle of nowhere.
Yeah, as in all the movies, all the maps don't show this island.
Yeah.
But it's been located by people accidentally, and he's got a rough drawn map of where it is, the latitudes and longitudes, and it's surrounded by cloud most times, so most people don't see it.
Yeah. So it has a lot of mist, I think that's what.
All mist, yeah. Okay, mist, cloud, whatever. Yeah.
And there was a scene where Anne meets Jack, but it's funny, really. She ends up mistaking Kyle's
assistant
as Jack, but then it seems like she just made a big fool of herself by.
As one would.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have the internet back in those days.
True.
And Facebook and other things.
Yeah. So they start filming the first scenes, which resemble a lot like the 1930s version of.
There's some takes out
similar
there.
Similar dialogue, similar stuff.
Out there, you put your gear on, go and do a couple of test runs out here, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, anyway, it was pretty good for a time. Anyway, moving on. So there are second thoughts about going all the way to the spot where the mist is. And some of the crew members are saying maybe we should turn back.
But the captain gets not telegram, whatever, radiogram, whatever you call it back in those days, on his boat saying, "Hey, Carl is wanted by his production company for different breaches. The police want him and different things, and says cease the cruise and come back home, or go to Rangoon, and pull in there, and we'll collect him and take him home."
Yeah, that would be it. But unfortunately, they do end up going into the mist.
They got stuck in the mist. Gee, saved by the bell.
Yeah, and unlike in the original movies, we get a lot of big rocks that are in the way here and there. once they get through to the island, it's got these large rocks in the water that could easily break and damage the boat.
You've got reefs and stuff. All these more like rocks.
Yeah, very dangerous. They eventually arrive, and then just like clockwork, their boat is what's the word? Moored onto one of the rocks that prevent them to leave.
No, I don't know if it's moored, but it gets stuck there. So I thought,
stuck there.
We can stay here and...
While Carl and his...
They investigate.
They go down and film on the island. Mm-hmm. And they do. They film and they thought the place is abandoned, even though the fish that's on spikes look fresh. They don't look like they're old or aged.
The natives weren't expecting visitors, so they didn't come out.
Yeah, and
until a few minutes later.
A lot of, I think I remember in the 1970s one, they made the same assumption, but it doesn't make sense even then, back then, but it's weird that they keep assuming that it's abandoned, even though it looks like...
Well, it looks horrible and grotty and run down.
True.
Yeah, so the natives aren't really good at maintenance.
True. But they have maintained the wall after all those years.
Well, I spend all the time doing that. Now, actually, every time I see these walls...
Okay.
Now, how tall is the gorilla?
Good point, Mike.
He's about 25 feet tall.
Yeah, but then again, they have all those dinosaurs and creatures there.
I'm about almost 6 feet tall. So it's got 4 of me. And then these walls are about 3 times the height or 4 times the height of the gorilla. No, well, at least double the height of the gorilla, at least.
True.
Yeah. And sometimes looks like Jurassic Park trying to keep a T-Rex out. Whatever.
Yeah, so anyway...
But a big one.
So they then encounter a native, and they try to act friendly, but then we find out it's a trap, and then our group gets terrorized by a bunch of the other natives, and of course, just like clockwork in the story, they're fascinated by
the golden-haired lady.
Yeah, one of the sinister witch doctor women was really creepy.
I was going to say, considering all the females on the island who had tan skin and black hair, so she would be a rarity.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually the rest of the people on the boat arrive and they shoot, bullets in the air.
And that scared the natives, obviously.
Yeah, of course, one of their members is killed and all that stuff. So they end up heading back to the boat and make plans to leave as soon as possible.
Exactly. I would.
Yeah.
I would have gone home.
Yeah, but that very night, the natives come and kidnap Anne, of course. And just when they were jarring the boat to get loose the rocks.
They're trying to wiggle them. But the boat's actually, it didn't actually damage itself, but it's got wedged between a couple of rocks, so it sort of run aground. They're trying to dislodge it from the rocks. How's that?
So anyway,
throwing crap overboard and stuff.
So Jack informs Carl and the captain about Anne's disappearance, and they make plans to go in and rescue her. And of course, when on the island, we see the whole thing going in full swing mode, and they then eventually put her on an altar, and they were planning on sacrificing her to King Kong, or Kong anyway.
Well, Kong.
Yeah. Anyway, Kong appears, and while our heroes try to... Well, no, I'm not going to say heroes, because these days in this movie, you can never be sure who's the heroes and who's the villains.
Exactly.
Yes, in this case, I'm not sure...
Bit of typecasting in some cases, but not always.
Yeah, I always think of Kong as the victim, because he's been dragged away from everything he knows, and...
Actually, that's a good point. We'll raise that part later when Let's roll on.
Rolling on. So,
this is going to be a long one tonight.
Yeah. So Carl and his guys, they head towards the big wall and door, and they see. And Carl was the one who sees what the creature looks like through a gap in the door.
A big monkey.
Yeah, it was very silhouette-y. And other than that, and so. He couldn't describe it to Jack or the others, but he knows that it's a big creature. So So a few of the men head in there, while the captain and the rest of them stay outside and keep the door, things going.
Guard the gate so that when they come running back in, they can get out quickly, and they lock the door behind them.
Yes, exactly. So
how's the pizza guy get in?
It's me.
Yeah, bugger.
So our guys head in there, and we watch as they see the Kong's footprints are.
Yeah, one guy falls in a dent in the ground. What's this hole doing here? And he says, "That's not a hole; it's a footprint." Whoa! That reminds me of the Godzilla movie it was done about 15, 20 years ago. A guy guy's called out there, the worm guy. He comes out there. He says, "Well, where's the footprint I'm supposed to check in?" You're standing in it.
Very interesting.
Big foot.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'll move on to Anne and King Kong. So she's in his grip, and they head into the forest. And of course, he doesn't. I don't know if most of the time whether or not he knows whether to throw or kill her or anything like that.
She's cute, Naomi.
I mean, gorillas, as we've known them, do not eat humans.
No, actually, they're vegetarians in them. I think most, I don't know all of them, but I think most of them I've never seen, that's why they eat bananas and bamboo and stuff, like pandas and stuff, and they don't eat meat, I don't think. They might be forced to if nothing else to eat.
And on several bits of the movie, King Kong saves Anne from dinosaurs and other
funny creatures like that. Yeah.
And she starts to realize that he's
really a nice guy.
Yeah, he turns out. I mean, when he did save her from 3 other T-Rexes.
Yeah, something like a cross between a T-Rex and a Velociraptor.
Yeah. So he saves her from 3 of them, and she felt rather bad when he turns away, like he brushes her off, saying "Leave, go away," stuff like that. Like he's hinting that she broke his heart or something like that.
He looks sad. Actually, that's one thing I get back. That capture motion thingy. When they did that, they had all these things stuck all over his face to do the
facial expressions.
The face expressions, but the funny part is, gorillas have almost as many face muscles as we have, and the same general configuration, and they can look sad or happy and different things, and they can control the muscles, where dogs and cats don't have the muscle control.
Yeah, so eventually he does scoop her up, and he takes her to his lair, and this is where, in the other one, never shows. In this one, there's a lot of gorilla skeletons, which indicate that Kong is the last species.
His family.
Meaning he never. And I think how lonely he must be.
Yeah, he just wanted a girlfriend. Aww.
Anyway, while this is happening, the others get caught in other dinosaurs. I think Brontosauruses. I think Velociraptor type creatures. They chase them in a bit of a stampede motion in one scene. They also confront bugs. Very big bugs.
Yeah, big ones.
Yeah, it seems like every single creature they encounter is bigger or...
Well, they're supposed to be prehistoric, so you think straight away I think, prehistoric will make big bugs. Not always the case, but it's really good visual effect.
Anyway, eventually, some of the men get killed, and of course, some of the others from the gate somehow comes in and helps the others to get our way.
Yeah, nice.
And Carl sets about with his captain to trap Kong when Anne and Jack get back.
Yeah, they had a lot of chloroform with them.
Yeah, not to knock out anyone.
Oh yeah, for you young guys, chloroform, back in the early days, when you went for an operation at the hospital, they used to put a bit of chloroform on a piece of cotton. Excuse me.
Go on.
And put it near your nose, and then you pass out. It'd do something, it'd slow your brain down, put you into a sleep state. Yeah, and that's what I used to use for anaesthetic.
Yes.
Anesthesia, yeah.
Yeah, so back to Anne. She and the Kong, they watch the view of the sunset, and it looks very beautiful and very nice.
I'd want to move there. And it's very nice.
And she she tells him how beautiful it is and places her hand over her heart saying beautiful. And I think he understands. And
the body language, yeah.
And in this scene... And in this scene, he offers his hand to her. He unlike in the other movies where he keeps on picking her up forcefully in those movies.
The rough stuff.
But in this scene, he just offers her his hand.
And she sits on his hand.
Yeah. And later on that night, he cradles her like a little baby in his arms while she sleeps.
And keeps her warm.
I think that's kind of romantic and nice.
He's just lonely. He wants someone to talk to. Yeah.
Or at least someone to there to be with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack arrives there and he tries to get Anne away, and of course Kong wakes up, and he tries to attack Jack, and we also see some weird large bat creatures trying to attack both Anne and Jack.
A bit like a pterodactyl, well, not quite.
Yeah, quite different from the 1930s one, but there you are. Anyway, so Jack and Anne, they try to escape just the way they did in the 1930s one by climbing down a vine, but that dear old Kong tries to pull it up.
He does.
Yeah, but luckily enough, Jack grabs hold of one of the bat creatures and it flies down so they can get close to the water.
Do you trust me? Just like Aladdin. No?
No.
Okay, no.
So eventually Kong starts chasing them down, and eventually they arrive at the gate, and of course Anne notices right away the chloroform and the traps that they're setting for Kong.
Yeah, they dug a big, while they were gone, they dug a big hole in the ground. So
no, not this one. It was,
it
was more ropes and nets
and
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's Jeff Bridges one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
Of course, Anne kept saying, leave him alone, all that stuff. And he says he wants me, all that stuff. Leave him alone, all that stuff.
I'll stay here with the monkey.
Yeah, eventually he watches Anne being pulled away by Jack, and Kong gets angry, and he starts following her, and the survivors try to get away as quickly as they can, all the while trying to shoot or aim their guns at the big gorilla. And eventually Carl Denham was able to take a bottle of chloroform and smash it against dear old Kong's face.
Right up his nose.
Yeah, causing him to fall down flat.
Poor little baby.
Yeah, and then Carl declares that we are millionaires, folk guys. I'll sure love you. Yeah. And he says something about the same dialogue that hopefully King Kong will be up in lights, the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
And of course, Anne is.
Hope the public liability insurance is paid up in New York. Yeah.
Of course, Anne is devastated by this, and both Anne and Jack, they don't want anything to do with this horrible promotional gimmick.
Yeah, exploitation of it. Where's the in Australia? We've got the RSPCA, Royal Society for Protection and RSP. Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. So you'd have something like that in other countries.
Yeah.
Where are they when this poor monkey is being maltreated?
Anyway, so eventually we ride back to New York. Everything we see anyway, everything's full swing. Anyway, on opening night on Broadway, whatever, Carl Denham introduces the Kong to the world, saying he was a king and a god in his world. He knew all that stuff.
Now he is
a prisoner of all that stuff.
Yeah, yada, all above.
Yeah, the same stuff. It's a bit
same
sad.
crap they put in the 1933 movie.
Yeah. Anyway, we then view Kong, and he looks so depressed and
he has had the fight taken out of him.
Yeah.
He's sad.
Yeah, who knows
dejected and lonely. And he wants a banana. Or
something. Anyway, so we then get into a bit of a musical or stage number of sorts where they do it like the 1930s version of the Tribes, where they dance.
Yeah, they try to emulate what they saw on the island of the tribal guys doing a little dance.
Yeah. Anyway, he makes out that Bruce was the hero of this.
Yeah, well, he was a well-known hero in the movies and stuff. So, you needed somebody to be the front man. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, we then meet up with Jack, who's watching his preview of his play, and he then thinks about Anne. So he then heads down to the King Kong's the thing going on, and he notices right away that during the tribal scene with Kong, that the woman that's sort of in the display in the scene is not Anne, but
an actress,
probably a
chorus girl
or something. And Kong notices this very thing.
That ain't her.
And he starts to act up like type angry.
Where's my girlfriend? Yeah.
He first it was going to be her, but when you see her face, it's not her.
She was an attractive girl, however.
Yeah. And even Jack is wondering what happened to her. And his Carl's assistant said that Carl offered, say, thousands of dollars for her to appear in this production thing, but she turned it down and is starring as a chorus girl in a real stage
which she wants to do anyway.
Play or a mute dance.
But he said one was going to get a piece of the action. Would she still be getting a piece of the action?
I don't know. Maybe she rejected the idea. She thought it was probably.
I don't want the money. It's blood money, or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, we watch her in this in a number on stage. She's dancing as a chorus girl, as I mentioned, and she looks rather sad and like she feels like she just rejected two of the most important people in her life.
The gorilla and Jack.
Yeah. Even though she grew to like Jack, she also grew to love the gorilla.
I know which one I prefer.
Ooh.
The human being.
Anyway,
well, you know.
King Kong starts acting up, and more than ever in this scene, the cameramen start taking photos. Snap,
flash, and then annoy the monkey.
Yeah. Anyway.
Don't worry, folks. That's chromium steel, really, so you can't break that bullshit.
Eventually, Jack notices right away that it's going to break eventually, and he asks the audience members to eject their seats.
Eject?
Or leave their seats.
Leave their seats.
But
in an orderly fashion.
And, of course, one of the men says, I paid for good money on my seat. I'm not going to leave. But then the whole hell starts breaking loose.
Then the monkey breaks loose, and he's one of the first ones at the door.
Yeah, soon enough, everyone's running. The seats...
Help!
Seats start flying from...
People get run over.
Yeah, and Jack is noticed by King Kong, and King Kong probably remembers him.
I know you little run. Why didn't he just walk on him?
I don't know.
I would.
He was on the top... what's the stage above the? I mean, what's the top of the seats?
The next level up.
Yeah, next level up.
Oh, what do you call it? Balconies, mezzanine,
a balcony,
whatever.
Seating. So he chases him
and
throughout the alley.
He breaks a balcony.
Yeah,
he's a big monkey.
He then chases Jack throughout the streets, grabbing every blonde woman that comes.
That's not her.
Up his path. Yeah. Of course, each one looks different and
smells different. He got a good sense of smell. Not her perfume. She was wearing, opium? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Anne eventually arrives and she approaches the King Kong in a nice romantic, She
stands there in the middle of the road and he stops, looks at her. Oh, true love.
Yeah. He then picks...
I was waiting for the doves and stuff to take off on the cutaway,
She then approaches him. He raises his hand out to her, like I mentioned earlier. He's not going to just jerk her around Buller Road to him like that.
No more rough stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Yeah. Before this happened, there was a lot of army guys chasing him, just trying to shoot at him. But then it's all quiet, and both King Kong and her, they slowly go off into the park. And this is my favourite scene in the movie.
Now, this is being supposedly New York, I believe then this must be Central Park.
Yeah.
And they go on there, and there's obviously, and they got it's winter time.
Yeah, like snow and
there's a frozen
lights.
Pond or
I think it's around Christmas time. I think.
Well, whatever. Yep. Well,
because there was some lights in the tree, which hint that maybe
we have a hot Christmas, they have a cold Christmas. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's ice on the pond, and King
Kong
must
be thick. He's really heavy.
Yeah. King Kong never experienced ice before.
Not where he came from. In the tropics.
He then starts skating on it.
On his bum and stuff, but it's fun, like a little kid playing on it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so
it's
cute.
the most romantic scene in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
And then that's when the army guys start shooting at them, and this is where King Kong does his magnificent climb up the Empire State Building.
Yes. What a good monkey.
Yeah, this is where I think throughout this with the movie and with the humans being mean to him, I feel like they're more the monsters than people.
It shows up in all these movies, alien movies. I mean, we did Starman recently.
Yeah.
And Starman was invited to come to our planet to make contact. Yeah. He comes here and we try to kill him.
Yeah. So
hello.
In this case, King Kong was taken from the land he knew and placed in the place like New York, the city.
And everyone's trying to hurt him.
And everyone's trying to hurt him and try to control him.
He has no friends.
Yeah. Anyway, he then climbs up the Empire State Building, and once he gets close to the top, he then looks out to the horizon. It's a sunrise or whatever.
Just like when he's at home.
And he then does the same thing when Anne described beautiful.
He touches his chest.
He touches his chest, and she knows deep down that he understands.
Yeah, he remembers. He's smart. He's smart for a monkey.
Yeah, but then of course that's when the airplanes start appearing and start charging bullets into King Kong.
You know what?
What?
I'll just say right now, Peter Jackson was in flying one of those planes.
Really?
Yeah, when you saw a close up, the guy there, he was in one of those planes. He was actually, and he's somebody else's. He's gonna, but yes. I can't remember who the other person is, but yeah.
King Kong tries to protect Anne by putting her inside the building as much as he could, but of course Anne wants to try to make her statement by saying, "Do not hurt King Kong.
Leave the monkey alone. He just wants a big banana."
Yeah. He then climbs to the tippy top of the Empire State Building. Anne follows, and of course, while she's climbing up the ladder, I think. He grabs her by, by either his hand or his foot. Gorillas can grab by their foot. From what I
handy feet. Whatever.
Yeah, and he then slings her up onto the thing, and as he's trying to defend his right to live, the airplanes...
Peter Jackson killed him.
Yeah, they start shooting, and a few of the...
leading actor.
And I think about 3 or 2 of the planes, they got knocked down.
He was going pretty good there for a while.
Yeah.
They're getting more and more... I must have been really good bullets.
Yeah. And anyway, he's growing weak, and soon enough more bullets penetrated him in different directions, and Anne tries to plead with the airplane guys to stop. But they don't, and Kong is so weak he ends up
falling off the building.
Yeah, and watches in slow devastation. Devastated.
Yeah, poor little guy.
And Jack approaches her. He kind of arrives inside the Empire State Building and goes up to the high level, and he comforts her. And as we watch, Kong gets the horrible publicity of being photographed by the media, praised by...
The paparazzi are always after these celebrities, aren't they?
Yeah, and the media praising the army guys for killing the monster and stuff like that. And if I was Anne, I'd belt one of these media guys.
And Carl comes along and says...
It wasn't the
planes that killed them.
It was Beauty that killed the Beast.
Yeah. And that was the closing bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, the end.
And that line was supposed to have been delivered by Fay Ray, as we said earlier on.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame for poor old Fay. It would have been very nice.
I do like this movie very much. This version is a lot more detailed.
I like the CGI and the monkey.
And it got me thinking about the Beauty and the Beast. I know that's referenced throughout both movies.
Yeah, it is actually Beauty and the Beast.
And how, unlike in the Fay Ray one, she didn't really appreciate the Beast in that one.
She was just scared of him.
But in this one, she grew to like him and learned to realize that he was a nice monkey.
I know he's not a monkey; he's a gorilla.
I know gorillas are. But then again, it is a bit sad when you think about it, and I feel sorry for King Kong in this respect.
Now, I've got lots of things to talk about now. Can I
Okay.
take over a few minutes? Okay, development. A lot of stuff here. When Peter Jackson was little Jackson, when he was about 9 years old...
He did his own version of King Kong.
Shush!
I actually heard about it, Dad.
Not when he was 9 he did it, okay?
Yeah, but he didn't...
Can I actually say something instead of you talking over me all the time when I'm trying to say something?
But I did
when
hear
he
about
was
it.
9 years old, he saw the 1933 movie, and he cried when the gorilla fell off the building and died. When he was 12, he made his home movie using a Super 8. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. But he gave up on the project because it was too hard to make. Because he
was only 12.
Anyway.
The only way you can duplicate the buildings is by making
but
blocks.
he did a kiddie one, backyards, whatever. But anyway, that became his favourite film.
Who could
And it
blame
was in the
him?
back of his mind a lot. So, anyway, he collected memorabilia and stuff and different things and whatever and blah, 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 blah. Jackson paid tribute to the movie, the 1933 movie, including Skull Island as the origin of the zombie plague in his 1992 film, Brain Dead.
Wow.
So
I think I heard about Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. I don't think I've seen that one. I think I've got it. I've got too many movies to watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that's the one I'm thinking of, or maybe there was another movie called Brain Dead. I'm sorry, guys.
Anyway,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, during the filming of Jackson's 1996 film, The Frighteners, Universal Pictures was so impressed with his dailies, the shorts, that is prints. The studio was adamant they wanted to work on the next project, which was going to be the creature from the Black Lagoon. But Jackson didn't want to do the creature from Black Lagoon. So the idea of King Kong came up later, and he said, "Oh, okay, yes, no." Initially, he didn't want to do it, but he's worried about somebody else getting it and making a mess of it. Making a mess of it. So he said, "Yeah, I'll take on the project." Aha.
Oh, Mike, I'm just thinking. What was that movie called? Shapes in the Water.
Shape in the Water.
Do you think that would have been a adaptation of Creature from Black Lagoon?
Sort of. Yeah,
Do you think that was probably their way of the studio to make their own Creature of the Black Lagoon?
Sort of, because they took him out of his environment and took him there, and they're going to study him the same way they did in
the sequel.
The Creature from Black Lagoon. They took him out of his habitat, and they tried to humanise him and cut his gills off and do everything, try to make him into a human being and stuff. It didn't work. He died.
Yeah, because I don't think any. I mean, apart from I mentioned John Carpenter and Peter Jackson. We haven't even come close to making a Creature of Black Lagoon film.
I'm talking
remake.
about a monkey movie.
Not that I'm begging for it. It's
it would be very nice to see what they can do with the CGI and stuff. And
I would have loved to see how creepy they could make the creature. From
instead of a man going around in a rubber suit.
Hey, don't knock the suit. I do.
It's been used in several movies.
Respect that lady who made that suit.
It's good. It's good at bodysuit. Anyway, I was talking about the monkey movie.
Go on, you're saying.
And they didn't have to worry about any copyright or legal rights or anything because RKO couldn't claim anything because this was public domain by this time, so they could make it using the same script they wanted to. They wouldn't have to rewrite it anyway.
Plus, he's dead.
Yeah, lucky.
Is he dead?
Who?
The guy that you mentioned.
No, RKO Studios.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't have a claim on him or anything because of it was public domain because of 7 years had passed.
Yeah, I guess.
He turned it down, yada, yada, yada. Jackson was going to not be making a movie, so he made the Lord of the Rings stuff. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, blah, blah, blah. And towards the end of that, they approached him and said, "Please come on deck." He did.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So he came and helped them out, and by taking on the role of assistant, one of the producers, directors, whatever, everything, writing the scripts.
Luckily, he has an interest in this movie.
Yeah,
or otherwise, he could have said, "F you."
Follow up.
What?
Follow up. Oh, the other review. Now, he's also, he was going to get a percentage of the gross takings, but he did get total artistic control over it.
Hooray!
So the director,
There's hope for us now.
but being a producer and a director and a screenwriter. He had a good idea of what he wanted, and they let him do it.
I'm glad that's he got control.
And
over
everything was filmed in New Zealand. The studio didn't worry
That's
about
another
that.
thing, Mike. Did you find out whether or not Peter Jackson lives in New
He's
Zealand?
done a lot of stuff in New Zealand. He may be in New Zealand. I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure either.
I think he is. But anyway, moving right along. Blah, 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 blah. They rewrote the old script that had been done a couple of years earlier because they bunged the script out pretty quick, and then the lady who helped write the original script wasn't happy with it either, so she was happy to rewrite it with Peter Jackson.
That's nice.
I won't talk about any major changes in there.
Yeah. What about that reviewer who said it was too long?
I'm not into the reviews yet.
I would like to find out for myself.
I will talk about reviews. I'm finished doing the production.
No, I mean the nasty reviewer we mentioned.
I will talk about the reviewers later. Thank you kindly. Now, this went on and off, hot and cold for a couple of years. They finally pumped it out, and they did. Revolved the project, came back on deck in 2002, 2003. Yeah, it just went on and on and on and on and on. Now, this is where I think Peter Jackson made a mistake. He said, "I'll take $20 million as my fee."
Whoops.
Instead of doing a percentage of cash takings.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. In hindsight, he would have made a lot more money.
Yeah.
So yeah, but out of his $20 million, he had a thing there. If there's any cost overrun, he'd have to cover it. So he could have lost his $20 million as well. Okay. Moving right along. What else can I say there? Nah, it's rubbish. That's rubbish. I've got lots of notes here. There's just so much to go through. Here we go. Okay, Carl Denham was initially modelled after and inspired by Orson Welles. So yeah, when he got that, he got Jack Black to emulate Orson Welles and his character and everything else. Yeah, everything was done in New Zealand, like I said. I can't go into too much. Visual effects, like I said, that was motion capture. Motion capture for the gorilla, and it was really good. It looks so real. It's probably one of the best. You know how you got your Godzilla movies. It looks like you got a real monster running around. Well, it falls in that category. It looks so good.
Didn't they make another King Kong sort of movie not too long ago?
Oh,
after this one, I mean.
No, they did. I think there was another one. I'm out of touch of King Kong movies. I think there was another one made. Yeah. Yeah,
more of a King Kong versus Godzilla, whatever.
Yeah. Well, they did a lot. Son of Kong and everything else was done. Anyway, Fay Ray.
Sorry about that.
Was in the original, obviously, and which was sad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, an ad for Universal is visible while Kong is tearing up Times Square. In 1933, film as ad for Columbia Pictures appeared in the same spot, and after production designers replicated it, Columbia asked for a large amount of money for its use, so they replaced it.
Yeah, didn't you say it was Universal, whatever?
No, Columbia was the original.
Yeah. And
the original film,
I know.
1933.
I know.
And Universal was going to put Columbia Pictures there on the placard, the big billboard up the back.
I know, but I just
said Universal replaced with Universal.
That's what I mean. They had to replace because without a horrible
Columbia
payment.
Pictures and whatever wanted big bucks. Okay,
yeah.
that's what I said. Okay, right.
That's what I say.
Oh yeah, well, here's an interesting bit. When Denham is considering who to play the part before meeting Anne, he suggests Faye. But his assistant Preston says, she's doing a picture with RKO. Music from the 1933 film is heard. And Denham mutters, Cooper, huh? Might have known. Now, Fay Ray starred in 1933 movie, which was directed by Marion Cooper. So, a bit of a...
As I said before, egg hunts everywhere, guys.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I won't go through all these little egg hunt thingies and whatever.
But there is a lot of references.
Little things, yeah.
Big, small, whatever.
They did try to copy some bits the same as the original 1933 movie. Other bits they didn't. So now reception. Sarah was achieving it a bit before. Rotten Tomatoes, you got an 84%. The general consensus says, featuring state-of-the-art special effects, terrific performances, and a majestic sense of spectacle, Peter Jackson's remake of King Kong is a potent epic that's faithful to the script of the 1933 original.
And a little better. And
Metacritic says nothing, but it gave it 81 out of 100. Audience polled by CinemaScope gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to an F scale. So that was pretty well a good one. It was placed in the top 10 list of several critics, with Roger Ebert giving it 4 stars and listing it as 2005's 8th best film. The film received 4 Academy Awards, nominations for visual effects, sound mixing, blah, 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 or whatever. Production design and something else, whatever, sound editing. Entertainment Weekly called the depiction of Kong the most convincing computer-generated character in film in 2005.
And that's
the critics loved it. I don't know why. When the box office is really good, they bag it, and when it goes poorly, they like it.
Or when it's an awesome movie, they'll just bomb it some more.
Yeah, now we're getting into slimy ones here. Some criticised the film for retaining racist stereotypes that had been present in the 1933 film, though it was not suggested Jackson had done this intentionally. Lord, it was a remake of 1933 movie. They had natives on an island. What do you expect them to be? Dressed in jeans and T-shirts and whatever, listening to CDs and whatever? No. Yeah. It had to be natives, if that ilk,
Yeah, you got to... Yeah. I know that people keep saying this, but as much as I keep telling everyone, I keep saying that... You got to keep it real.
Exactly.
Believable.
Exactly.
Even. They probably did, this is back in the 1930s. And
it was a remake of the original movie. It was a remake
of this original stuff.
What did I say? Make them all Chinese instead of dark-skinned people and whatever.
This is a civilization that has not been touched by any other for
they haven't met
so
anybody
many years.
If whoever's there, they've been there for thousands of years, whatever.
And they haven't changed or altered or haven't been educated by any other.
I'm moving right along.
Race.
Okay, right. King Kong ranks 450th on Empire Magazine's 2008 list of the 500 greatest movies of all time.
Wow.
Now, I don't know whether they're referring to the original King Kong or this one. I would say it's the original King Kong. Oh. Yeah, I'd say it, because this is King Kong in general. Yeah,
I guess. I guess I've had to read the article to see it for myself.
But it doesn't say, so yeah. So it could be the remake, it could be the original. I don't know. The Guardian reviewer, here we go, Peter Bradshaw, said that it certainly equals and even exceeds anything Jackson did in Lord of the Rings.
Sweet.
Wait a minute. However, Charlie Brooker, also of The Guardian, gives a negative review in which he describes the film as 16 times more overblown and histrionic than necessary.
What?
I don't even know what histrionic means.
I think. Well, can you say that again? I couldn't.
He said he describes the film as 16 times more overblown, padded, what it may be, and histrionic than necessary.
Histrionic.
I think he's referring to, let's cut to the chase and let's make a short movie out of it.
Yeah, well, it did have a bit of historic things there.
Point is,
there was a stock market crash, and that left everyone out debt.
But that was building the storyline. I mean, it's not like a slasher movie. Let's go to a bush thing there. There's an old deserted house we're going to have a look at. Oh, there's a creepy guy living out. He's going to kill us. Whoopee. And let's run around and get killed. But if he wants that sort of stuff... Yeah. Ain't going to happen in every movie.
Yeah, and most people probably want to know back then what the 1930s was like.
And that was a very good feel, because I've got a lot of old movies, and I had a good feel for it for that period. Yeah. Anyway,
it's a very historic thing that some of the people were left out of jobs or in debt, and they would have to live in
and that was
small
part of the story development. If she had a really, really, really good job, she really, really wouldn't have been dragged into an adventure with Carl Denham, would she, folks? No.
Yeah, and
she was. Oh no, I'm getting a really good wage here, and I've got a nice little apartment and everything, and I'm eating 3 meals a day, and I got money in the bank. No, she was skint. She had probably nowhere to sleep, nowhere to, no money coming in, nothing to eat.
Yeah.
She would be clasping at straws trying to get by. A lot of people would have been back in those days.
There were some scenes, short scenes in the beginning of the movie where we saw people getting thrown out of their houses.
Yeah. And I think that's what he thought, the histrionic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really a good reference point.
It's painting a picture.
It paints a picture of what possibly went down back then.
But you think about it. Someone born in the past 20, 30 years, 40 years has heard about the Depression.
Yeah.
Didn't live through it, and maybe the parents didn't even live through it.
No, true.
So it's good to show people what it might have been like. Yeah.
And imagine Peter Jackson and the others. They probably wanted to research 1930s to get a good picture of what that world was like. And there's a lot of historical old film footage, people starving on soup kitchens and everything. In the 1930s King Kong, it showed only a scene where we see a bunch of women in a homeless shelter heading,
going to soup kitchen.
Soup kitchen,
yeah, whatever, and that sort of stuff. Yeah, well, they're serving so and so, and whatever.
Biscuits on Friday,
and they weren't happy with it, but it's all you can get, and it's better than nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and while we didn't see too much of that of went down back then,
it was good times. My mum, I'm 67, and my parents, when they were kids, they grew up through this sort of period. And they said it was really tough.
Yeah.
And even after it, it didn't bounce back properly. And then you had your World War I and World War II thrown in there as well. They were horrible times financially for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I don't get why this reviewer is so...
He said, leave the history out there, make a shorter movie.
Oh, brother, give me a break.
But it sets the scene and the date and the time
and why
she was motivated to go on the boat with these strange guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, would you guys picture yourselves if you're a woman and you've decided that you have no choice, but you're going to take a part in a place in a role that they say that may be filming in Singapore, but actually they're filming on a deserted island. And
by the way, there could be a dirty, great big monkey who's going to kill you. That's okay. That's a side benefit.
Yeah. And she has no money, and this is her last chance of getting money and maybe a little bit of a chance of stardom.
Exactly right. Anyway, I think we should finish it because it's dragging on a bit at the moment.
So that guy, he has no clue what he's talking about.
He just doesn't like that sort of movie, that's all. I mean, it gets back to what I keep saying. A lot of the reviewers don't give it a fair review because if they don't like slasher movies, they're not going to give it a good review.
And if they don't like adventure movies like King Kong,
they won't give it a good review
either. Yeah. Even though it was really mind-boggling and really interesting. Yeah. And I don't care how long it was pretty...
it wasn't a dead movie. I mean, I don't like overly long movies if it's too dead and slow moving, but this wasn't a dead, slow moving movie.
And I like the character development between Anne and King Kong and Jack Crystal.
Yeah, hey... Menage a trois? Oh, sorry.
Anyway, I like the character development there. I like the fact that Anne liked both the gorilla and Jack in different ways.
Decisions.
Even though she likes Jack and all that stuff.
Well, I think she ended up with Jack in the end. That was implied.
But I do like the fact that she loved the gorilla, that he helped her, saved her, and appreciated. She showed her that she appreciated him saving her. Yeah. She doesn't scream or yell like Fay Ray.
No, that was a script.
At first, she does scream and yell, but
eek, eek,
and all that stuff. But she eventually realized that he helped her.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving back
along. I'm not going to. If you are looking to buy or see a copy of this movie, eBay has plenty available. Be careful. There's 3 versions. There's a 1933, which isn't a bad look. I don't know what the date of the other movie is. Is it Jeff Bridges? Jeff Bridges. I don't know what year that was made.
It was made in 1972.
1972. That's not a bad movie either, but we're reviewing this one.
No, I don't think it was 1972. I was thinking of something
bit
else.
later?
It was in the 1970s.
Okay. But this is the 2005 version. But
Yeah.
they're all good. I like the original because I like originals. And this movie ain't bad at all. Anyway, plenty available on eBay. Amazon has plenty to rent, and quite a few to buy. But you're looking to buy, you're probably going to be better off going to eBay or something similar.
Yeah. I also have something to add.
Yeah.
King Kong's roar is actually a lion roar played backwards at half speed.
Okay.
I think I mentioned to Mike when we
That's
did watch Jeff Bridges' version. I noticed right away when King Kong in that version, it sounded a little bit like more of a lion roaring instead of a gorilla roaring.
Yeah, but the idea, if you've got a little gorilla who's about 6 foot tall or 5 foot tall or whatever, going grrr, it's going to sound a lot different to a big one. They're trying to find something for really, really good, fierce noise. Instead of going screech, you want yeah.
Yeah.
Like that,
so, do you want to rate this movie now?
10.
I'm going to rate it 10.5 out of 10.
Jeez, he's impressed. Well, because of the gorilla, he's really nice.
It's more than that. It's got good character development, and I like the chemistry between the characters.
Look, I think Peter Jackson got it right.
Yeah.
I think the actors got it right. I think the CGI guys got it right. Everything comes together in this movie. That doesn't always happen. I think everything, and I think possibly because Peter Jackson was involved in producing, directing, and writing.
Yeah.
And I think when you got somebody who's got a hands-on approach like that, there's a good chance you're going to deliver something really good.
I like the fact he had control over this production.
Yeah, it's a total artistic control. So no one can say, we don't like what you're doing here, Peter. It's either going to blow it out your bum and doing it my way. Okay. Yeah, and walk away.
Yeah. I mean, he had the right idea about what he wanted. And seeing as he was a fan of this movie,
since he was a kiddie.
Since he was a child. And it's good that he had a bit of a creative imagination of what it should be, or should it be.
He had in his mind what he wanted to do, and that's why he took it back to the 1933 version, when he rewrote the script to modernise the
and adding
the
a bit of
dialogue
egg hunt bits here and there.
some egg hunt stuff, but he changed. He put a screenwriter in there instead of her falling in love with the second officer on the boat, or second mate, or
first
mate,
whatever.
A few little changes like that. But basically, it's a rehash of the original story, which is what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm finished because I don't want these people to go, these people talk too much, I'm not going to listen anymore.
Yeah, so I definitely advise, check this movie out.
This is a good one.
It's a good one, and do not act all angry that it's really...
It's a long movie, so I say get a big bowl of popcorn, a couple of beers, whatever, and have them ready, and make sure the kids put to bed so you don't get any disruptions, and sit down there and be in for the long haul. Yeah.
Exactly. So thanks for listening to this latest podcast, everyone. So we'll talk to you guys for our next one. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Model.
Saying see you guys for our next podcast.
This has been a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.